Well, hello again, and welcome to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures podcast. I'm Tom. As always, I'm with my beautiful, gorgeous, intelligent, Davy Crockett loving wife, Michelle.
I thought you were going to say wine-loving wife.
Well, we went over that already, and actually most people know that, but they don't know that you love Davy Crockett as well.
I do. Thank you. Thank you, sweetie. And hi, everybody.
So good to have you with us. We are recording this episode on Sunday, November 3rd, 2019. We're in November. We're getting closer to the end of the year. Holiday season's coming up. So much excitement. We just can't wait.
So much is happening right now and till the end of the year. It's like crazy, and our schedule is crazy, and
it just keeps getting more and more filled up. And something pops up every single week, it seems like. But we're so glad to have you with us today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventurespodcast.com. And while you're there, why don't you just take a little moment and sign up for the newsletter? I mean, what do you got to lose? Sign up for the newsletter. We'll have some fun with you, get some information out to you.
Right. And we 100% promise we are not sharing our list with anybody. It's just for us to have a way to communicate back with you outside of the podcast.
Right. We're looking to make money from this podcast at some point. However, it's not going to ever be by selling your information to anyone out there. So don't worry about that. That's one thing we will promise to you that we will never do. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Stitcher, all sorts of places. But the best other place to find us is also on social media. We love reaching out to all our Hyperion Adventures and all our friends and family out on social media. And you can find us there on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. And of course, you can always email us for any reason at HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
Absolutely. And we love interacting with you all. We love hearing from you. It's a great, especially on Twitter, we have a great Twitter family out there. And, we do hope if you aren't following us yet, you start to and reach out to us. We love hearing from you.
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff that's going to be coming up here, and I'll be getting into some of it in just a moment. That's going to be very interactive through social media, through the website, and we want you all to be involved with that. So the best place to find that is either, like I said, through the website, through the newsletter especially, but also on social media, because we'll be putting it all out there as well.
Right. And this week is interesting because it's not the topic we had announced.
Yes, we'll get to that in just a moment because, we had to make just when we thought we were going right, we had to make a quick turn left this week on our topic, and we'll discuss that in a second. But we have lots of other stuff for you today, including dates for a couple of great guest favorite events that are coming to the Disneyland Resort. Run Disney announces the dates for its 2020-2021 schedule, and the most successful franchise in history belongs to Disney. But what franchise might that be? It might surprise you, and we'll tell you what Disney property that is coming up later. But first, we need to get to a couple other things. To start off, we had another giveaway this week, as we've been doing every week for the past couple weeks. This week, we were giving away another one of these great water bottles based on The Nightmare Before Christmas, and we have a winner of this week's contest. Michelle, tell the people who it is.
Taylor.
From San Jose.
San Jose, that's right. We sang the song a little bit when we did the drawing.
Yes, Taylor, thank you very much for entering. We had several entrants into this, and Taylor, you have won our Nightmare Before Christmas water bottle. We will be in touch with you to get your address so we can send it right to you so you can transition from what was just Halloween into Christmas.
Right. We have one more left that we may do at Christmas time, or maybe we'll keep it.
Ooh, it's a great water bottle. I've been arguing about keeping it, but we'll see about that. However, we are moving into the holiday season. We are moving into the colder season, or maybe the frozen season. So our giveaway this week is going to be this great poster that we received from the Walt Disney Studios panel at the D23 Expo 2019. We had this great textured, it's like 27 by 18 and a half poster.
Yeah,
it's
really nice.
Beautiful. And that's going to be our giveaway for this week.
Right. And that's going to be really special for anybody who wins that because it's not something that you can go out and buy, but it's really beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Features Anna and Elsa, and it's tough for me to get rid of because, as we all know, #real men love Frozen. But it's going to be, it's a really great poster. We think you're going to love it. Michelle, tell people how they can win this great prize.
Great. Well, we have a drawing each week. There's a couple ways that you can have entries. So one of them is if you give us a review, and that'll enter you into it. Or if you answer our 3-question trivia contest. And so speaking of that, we're going to announce the code word first time today.
Is it Frozen?
No, honey.
Sorry.
#real
men love Frozen.
I know. I think that #real men really is #Tom loves Frozen.
It probably could be, really. And I want to pretend like I'm a real man. So.
You are. But anyways, the code word for this week is Alamo.
Alamo. Today's code word is Alamo. Perfect. Love it.
Yeah.
And that will tie into our main topic,
Right.
which we're just about to get to. So yes, if you sign up for the newsletter, we will give you the questions right there. All you need to do is listen to the episode and find the answers to the questions and either direct message us back or email them to us, and that will enter you. And as Michelle said, if you give us a review or if you've already given us a review at some point, just let us know you want to be entered and we will put you in, and that will either give you an easy entry that way or a second entry, which
Right.
actually Taylor, who won
Right.
today, had
Yeah.
a second entry
Yeah,
because
she
of that. So
Right.
that gave her an advantage to getting involved. So we also have one other thing going on just starting this week. I put out a tweet, and actually I put it out on all social media earlier this week that we're starting this month, and that is we are leading into what is going to be the inaugural class of the Hyperion Adventures Disney Hall of Fame. And what we're doing is we're reaching out for nominees for different categories. Once we get the nominees put together, we are going to then put out a ballot for you all to vote
Right.
on because we want you to take part in this. And so for this week, what our category is going to be for nominations is Walt Disney or Pixar animated feature. What's your favorite? We'd love for you to send us your 5 favorites, and then those will be compiled along with everybody else's, and the films that get the most votes will be putting on the ballot in December.
Very cool. Can't wait.
Yeah, so we will be putting that out. Obviously, it's here in the episode. We'll be putting it out socially all week long as well, and of course on the newsletter. So be on the lookout for that, and we'd love to take part. We've already had some people giving us their input already, and we appreciate all you that have already done that.
Right. And we're going to really appreciate it when we send out the ballots for you all to vote too and be a part of this.
Mm-hmm. We may have also a giveaway for that balloting, like one person who enters in their ballot will have something special, maybe a prize pack of some sort for you. So
good
we
idea.
we'll keep you informed on that. We don't know exactly what it'll be yet, but we're kind of throwing these things together and we'll have it ready to go when we hit December. So now let's get to our main topic of the week. And yes, originally we were planning on a completely different topic. If you listened to last week's episode, and we hope you did, we were discussing how we were going to start talking about Disney Plus because that's coming up very soon.
Right. We're in single digits now.
Right. Wow, it's incredible. It's going to be here before you know it. However, we've been trying to
Coordinate our schedules.
Yes, to get this interview, this really special interview that we're going to have for you today. We've been working on it for over a month, and it's been kind of like yes, no. Eventually, it was going to happen, and suddenly it fell into our laps this week, and so we had to put all our plans on hold because this is a really special interview, and we're looking forward to bringing it to you. And then we will move the Disney Plus episode to next week, so you can look forward to that as well, even as we're more of a countdown towards Disney Plus coming out.
Right. And as we said last week, even if you're not a fan of wine, this episode has more than just wine chat.
Right. So we're already breaking the rules again. One, we're changing topics, but also we said last week, we're not going to do this wine thing every single week. And we're not. However, we are going to do it back-to-back weeks. That's because our special guest is coming to us from Fess Parker Winery and Vineyard. We are about to bring this person on. He is the son of Fess Parker, who you may know best as a Disney legend for many things, including being Davy Crockett and
Right.
Daniel Boone. And before we bring our guest in, Michelle has a few facts about Fess Parker in case you don't really know a lot about him, to kind of let you know how he's so entrenched within Disney.
Right. Well, actually, it's interesting because Fess Parker originally wasn't kind of on the realm or the thought process of Walt Disney to have on for some of the things like Davy Crockett. But it was after watching a movie that Fess Parker was in that he decided, hey, this would be a great person to bring on. And that kind of started a long time inclusion of Fess Parker into the Disney family, you know. And so they did a lot of movies. They had the hour-long movie series called Davy Crockett, and they all had like a subtitle to that. And, you know, on the Wonderful World of Disney, he was at the opening of Disneyland dressed up as Davy Crockett. And I think a lot of people really associate coonskin hats with Fess Parker. And I remember my older brother having a coonskin cap when he was little. And so, you know, there's just a lot of familiarity to that with me personally.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I grew up being a big fan of the Davy Crockett series and Daniel Boone, and Fess Parker's great. He was also in great things like he was actually one of the main characters within Old Yeller as well. But he, you know, just a great history within Disney. He is a Disney legend. And he went on from Hollywood to create this wonderful vineyard that we've grown to love.
Right. A little bit more about the man. You know, one of the things that when you research Fess Parker, everybody says the same thing. He was quite a gentleman. He was quite a warm, welcoming kind of individual. Even though he ended up in Hollywood and became an overnight success of a star, it really didn't go to his head. And he really maintained that family is the priority. And in fact, he and his wife had celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary prior to his passing. I mean, so he was a family man, even though he was very much entrenched in being in the limelight. I actually found a quote from Peter Docter, who was the Oscar-winning director of Disney Pixar films.
Yeah, now the head of Pixar Studios,
right.
As a matter of fact, yeah.
And this is his quote: "Meeting him," meaning Fess Parker, "meeting him was a real high point, and I don't think I ever met anyone that better fit the word gentleman. He was patient and kind, both with me and all my questions about his career and collaborators, as well as with our young kids who had been obsessively watching the Davy Crockett DVDs for months prior. Though I'm sure he was a busy man, he spent the entire afternoon showing me and my family around his winery, treating us to lunch, and talking about his life. It was a day I'll never forget."
Oh, that's so nice.
I know. And, you know,
I believe it.
Right. And like I said, whether you read like Dave Smith, who was for years involved in the Disney archives, and his recollection and description of meeting Fess Parker, same kind of sentiment there, that he was just a warm, welcoming person. There was even a story where Fess Parker one time, you know, ended up going into the gift shop at his winery, and there was a bunch of people there that recognized him, and how he was just very gracious and patient and shook everybody's hand, thanked them for being fans of his. You know, it just, whether you're hearing about him as being humble or being a family man, it was something that you heard over and over, even from film critics, etc. So it seemed very much like he was genuine, what you would see in the movies of somebody being very warm, welcoming, and family oriented.
Yeah, there's no question about it. That's what at least shown through with Fess Parker, and we just loved him since we were kids. And it even shows that it was last year when they did the That's from Disneyland auction and display way up at LA. I think it was near Thousand Oaks or whatever it may be. It was a long way away. We had to drive up there a long way to get it. And we went out there just to check out all the stuff. And when we got there, we stumbled across this great framed, it was an piece of art. It was a sketch of Fess dressed as Davy Crockett, and he was signing autographs for kids. One of them had a coonskin cap on, and then there's Mickey and Minnie and Donald in the picture as well, looking at him fondly. And then it was autographed by Fess Parker, and with Davy Crockett underneath. They were like, we have to have this. We have it now, and we have it displayed prominently in our hall. Is like when you walk up our hall,
Right.
the first thing you see is this great picture that we love very much, and we love Fess Parker, and we love Davy Crockett.
Exactly. It's amazing. And, for anybody who used to watch like Walt Disney and stuff, you could see some of the old things. As Peter Doctor mentioned, DVDs were, out there with all the Davy Crockett series. So there are ways that people can get to watch. Not quite sure if it's going to be on Disney Plus or Disney Plus right away. I've read.
I know some of the films are going to be. So
I've read different things.
Yeah,
so I'm not.
I've seen
sure.
them. When I was going through, they did a long thread a couple weeks back, and I was just going through them, and I noticed that at least a couple of the Davy Crockett films were going to be in there. So that's going to be exciting to check out if you haven't ever watched them. They're a lot of fun, and Davy Crockett is a real person. You know, I mean, he really existed, and so that's kind of a obviously it's based on the life of, but it still is wonderful stories that we and legends that they explored, and Fess Parker was there's this great actor playing this role.
Yeah, and so we came up with our 3 top films with Fess Parker Disney films. There are a lot of other great films that were not necessarily Disney films that Fess Parker starred in. Number 3 was Davy Crockett Goes to Congress, which was one of the series, the 1-hour series of Davy Crockett, and followed then number 2 is Davy Crockett at the Alamo, which was an interesting one because we know what happens at the end of the Alamo, and I think how they did that film was a great tribute, and then. And of course, the number 1 would be Old Yeller. That's one that, if you don't cry in that one.
No, who are you? Yeah. You're an evil person if that doesn't affect you every time you watch it.
And one fun fact is that actually he had a very small part in the movie Back to the Future.
Really?
Well, the way he got into it was Fess Parker's version of the Ballad of Davy Crockett played on the jukebox when Marty McFly first entered Lou's Cafe. So, and in fact, that Ballad of Davy Crockett was in the hit parade for 16 weeks. So,
wow, did
really well. It's a great song. It's a fun song, I should say.
It's a song.
It's a song. It's fun to sing. It can get in your head.
There's a couple verses that are great. If you go into what are there 21 or 22 verses, they're a little like, whoa, wow. Did Disney okay this?
I think some were ever included with Disney ever. But anyways, we were really thrilled to be able to actually meet our guests that we're going to have on at a wine tasting, and we cannot say enough about Fess Parker, his history. It's no wonder why he became a Disney legend in 1991. Him as a family person, and we're thrilled to be able to have his son actually join us.
Yeah, so let's get right to our guest. Well, let's get to our guest now after we've discussed Fess for so long. But I think, who could be a better source of talking about Fess Parker than this person? So, we were lucky enough actually to meet our guest actually back in 2015, February of 2015, if you can believe it. We were out at the Alfresco Tasting Terrace at Disney California Adventure Park. They had a wine tasting, a 4-course wine tasting with Fess Parker Winery and Vineyards, and we were blessed enough to go out there and do that, and we liked it so much we did it a second time, didn't we?
We sure did. And then we signed up for the barbecue.
Right. We signed up for the wine club, went out to the release day barbecue. It was a whirlwind trip. That's how we fell in love with Fess Parker Winery. And we are honored right now to have joined us the co-owner and proprietor of Fess Parker Winery and Vineyards. He's an accomplished winemaker himself, and of course, he's the son of the great Disney legend Fess Parker. We're thrilled to have Eli Parker join us. Eli, it's Tom and Michelle. Thanks for joining us on the Hyperion Adventures podcast.
Hey, it's a pleasure to join you this afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So one of the things, when we've been talking about the legacy your father had with the Walt Disney Company, but can you tell our listeners how your father went from Hollywood to vineyard owner?
Well, some people think that's, kind of a stretch, but actually for my sister and I, it seemed like a real logical sort of happening. My dad grew up in West Texas in kind of a farming and ranching family, and loved being outdoors, loved dirt, nothing more than dirt.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, going back to the early 70s, he had a cattle ranch up in Santa Maria that my sister and I would, we'd head up there on the weekends with him to gather cattle. And he just, he really liked that farming and ranching lifestyle. And so when the opportunity presented itself after, he kind of got to a place where he was, I guess you would say, semi-retired, he started looking around for an opportunity to fulfill a kind of a passion that he had for a long time. My parents started looking at planting grapes back in the 70s and never quite got it together, but finally in the late 80s they just took the plunge, and that was that.
And now you're on your 30th anniversary of the Fess Parker Winery and Vineyards. Congratulations on that. And it's really become a true family affair. I mean, really, it's multi-generational. A lot of the family members are involved in the winery and in different areas of it, right?
Absolutely. My sister and her husband, Tim, are, out there every day working in the valley at the winery. Tim is the president of the winery and oversees the whole operation. My nephew and niece are involved. My daughter is involved on the hospitality side, Amanda, and my oldest daughter raises Wagyu beef out on the ranch, so we've got quite an interesting program going on out there.
I was just noticing we got an email, because since we are wine club members, about, and I didn't know about the Fess Parker Ranch beef before, and I was like, wow, that looks great. We may have to place an order in, a little Fess Parker wine, little Fess Parker Wagyu beef. That sounds like a really nice evening to me. I don't know about you, Eli.
Absolutely, it's very tasty, and Katie and her husband Rocky have been working at this beef business for 4 or 5 years, and they have an amazing herd of Wagyu beef, all certified, and the beef is amazing, very, very delicious.
So now I saw, as I was doing some studying up for this interview, getting prepared, I saw a little clip of an interview with your sister, Ashley, and she alluded to something that I had never heard before. And actually, I was wondering if there's any truth to it. She said that your father, Fess, actually kind of had to purchase the ranch, or was looking for land, because their house fell off a cliff. Is that true?
That's absolutely true. They bought this beautiful piece of property right on the coast, right on a bluff in Santa Barbara, and set out to remodel it. And literally a week and a half before they were due to move in, I think it was 1987, we had some just epic rains, and a large sort of fissure opened up in front of the house, on the inland side of the house, that was cause for concern. And by the I apologize, I don't know if you can hear that, but I have my Ring alert that's kind of going off on my phone while I'm talking to you. Apologies.
Not a problem.
Anyway, the house literally within 24 hours or 48 hours slid off the bluff. Wow. And they were homeless.
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
What a
crazy story.
Yeah, what a tragedy, but what developed is such a wonderful, treat to everybody else and to the family, since you were all taking part in this great vineyard, and now going on 30 years, so, from something horrific came something really spectacular.
Absolutely.
So, we obviously, having had the great opportunity to meet other members of your family, actually go to the winery. But could you describe, what can people expect when they come to your winery? I mean, we know that there's some wonderful tastings and people can look online to see that. But how would you describe, for our visitors, what can be expected when they come out to the ranch?
Sure. Well, first, it's a beautiful setting. We're out on Fox and Canyon Road, about 5 miles from Los Olivos. It's a, very picturesque, warm in the summer, cool in the winter, friendly folks. I really, I'm so proud of the fact that our tasting room staff, I think they're probably some of the best educated, if not the best educated, folks, behind the tasting bar none. The winemaking team is doing a fantastic job with the wines, but it's relaxing. You kind of go at your own pace. If you want to, sort of the traditional wine tasting where you just kind of have fun at the bar, we offer that. If you want something that's a little bit more in-depth, if you want a seated tasting with a wine host to come and pour the wines for you and kind of talk a little bit more in-depth about what we're doing in San Ynez, we're happy to do that as well. So we really have kind of a little something tailored for everybody, just depends on what you want to do.
And I think for those of you who may know Fess Parker Winery, they're probably best known, I would imagine, for their Pinot Noirs, as most of the Santa Barbara and the Santa Ynez Valley is. However, they have a wide variety of varietals, as a matter of fact. Right here in front of us, we have the what's remaining from our summer wine club release, and we have a Syrah here from Santa Barbara Valley. We do have a Pinot Noir. We do have a Viognier, which is really interesting. And we also have what we're sipping right now, as a matter of fact, is Marcella's white wine. And that was in honor of your mother, who unfortunately left us earlier this year. But what another great tradition for your family as well.
Absolutely. It was an amazing experience to work with both of my parents, Ashley and I. It was not always easy. There were times where obviously we didn't see things necessarily eye to eye, but you'd always just sort of push through those times and figure out how to make it work. And miss both of them. My dad, it's hard to believe he's been gone nearly 10 years now, and it was really a sort of a heart-wrenching, Mom, she lived a great life, but both of them are sorely missed, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, cheers to them for raising such a great family atmosphere and such, a wonderful winery and such a great legacy. And we really, you should be very proud of them, and I'm sure they are extremely proud of you for all your whole family has done. So moving back to more of the winery, so what would you say out there sets Fess Parker Winery apart from maybe some of the other wineries in the Santa Barbara area, or many of the California wineries for that matter?
Well, I think first and foremost, you can't make great quality wine without great quality fruit. And so I think our vineyard sourcing is, second to none, and frankly has just been getting better over the last few years. Blair is doing a fantastic job. Blair's our winemaker. Blair Fox is doing a great job of securing new vineyard sites for our Pinot Noir program and Chardonnay. The winemaking talent that we have and the amazing crew in the cellar. A lot of these guys have been with us for 20 plus years. And so, it's like anything else. It takes a while to figure out how to really harness and synthesize all of the sort of the bits and pieces that need to come together harmoniously to make a great bottle of wine. And,
right.
It's, like I said, it takes a bit, but we've been at it for 30 years, so we're starting to finally figure it out a little.
That's for sure. We've met Blair. Blair's great, and an excellent winemaker. As a matter of fact, he's been named a winemaker of the year in the past, but he's not the only one at the Fess Parker Winery who's been named winemaker of the year in the past. I believe one Eli Parker was named winemaker of the year when you were head winemaker out at Fess Parker Winery and Vineyard. Is that correct?
Now you're getting into some ancient history, Tom. It's like, I don't know. And I think it was maybe 2006 or something like that ish, and that was a nice honor. I frankly I miss being active on the winemaking side, but I'm thrilled to death with the job that Blair's doing, and frankly, he deserves all the accolades that he's receiving at this point, because the wines are solid for sure.
Oh yeah, we love them. We love them so much. So speaking of that, so we've just gotten through harvest time. How is this year's harvest? I know it was a wetter year than normal. So how did that affect this year's harvest? What are you seeing from the grapes so far this year?
Well, I think from what I understand, it's been a good harvest, good quality. I know tonnage has been an issue. There's been excess fruit out there, and California is struggling a little bit with, and probably an oversupply situation, which maybe is a good thing for the consumer downstream a little bit. but I know from a winemaking standpoint, everybody's thrilled to death with the quality of the wines. And by the way, I wouldn't, the guys up in the cellar that are working right now feverishly to try and get this one wrapped up, I'm sure they would love to hear that it's over, but I think they have probably another 3 or 4 weeks before they get to kind of, take a little breather.
We obviously jumped the gun a little bit on that. I thought it was a little easier than it actually is. I'm sure that is such hard work, and they do such a great job out there for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I just didn't want them to get the idea that they all could drop their equipment and go home.
Done.
Done.
The boss says we're good. You can go ahead and call it.
Love it. So what's your favorite, and what would we find Eli Parker drinking?
I get that question quite frequently, and I don't. It depends on, who I'm with and what I'm eating and what my mood is, and I love if it's a well-crafted bottle of wine, I can appreciate whatever anybody puts on the table or whatever I decide to pick. I guess I do, if somebody, pressed me to say, what's the one varietal that you can only drink from now on, period.
Right.
I probably would have to go with Syrah. That would be the one that I frankly, wouldn't want to live without if somebody asked me that question.
Right.
Very nice. We love the Syrah. Fess Parker Syrah as well. Interesting. Yeah, we know we're talking mostly about Fess Parker Winery, but you have some others wineries, or at least some wines that are under your umbrella as well, and that's Addendum, Epiphany, and what kind of broke out. And you were just told us about it when we first met you in 2015, and that's Festivity. So can you tell us a little bit about those wines?
Sure. Well, Epiphany now has been around for nearly 20 years, if not 20 years. And that program is almost exclusively, it is exclusively Rhone focus. So we do things like Grenache and Syrah and Mourvèdre and Cinsault and interesting blends on the red side. And then we do some fun whites. We do the Viognier. We do Roussanne, Marsanne, some fun white blends in the Epiphany program. Festivity, my sister loves bubbles. And so a few years ago, we were talking about, making a few bottles. And I said, if we're going to do it, we should actually do it and kind of do it on a regular basis. And we all fell in love with it. We've got some absolutely fantastic vineyards out in the western part of the Santa Rita Hills appellation, some great Pinot Noir and Chardonnay that's really well suited to making the bubbles. And so we started that program, and it's actually really taken off. We've seen some nice press, and the wines are great. And frankly, I like drinking it too, to be honest with you. So
Yeah.
It's pretty tasty. And Addendum is, it's a fun project that we all love good Cabernet. And there are some people that are doing a pretty good job with Cabernet in Santa Barbara, but frankly, from my perspective, none of the vineyards that we own or farm or have under contract are particularly well suited to growing and producing Cabernet. So we just decided if we're going to do it, we're going to go right to sort of the, mother of all regions, at least in the northern hemisphere here, or in North America, and that's Napa, to buy our fruit to make the Addendum Cabernet, and the wines are just, they'll knock your socks off. They're really good.
I can't wait to try them. I love a good Cabernet. I love all Fess Parker wines. I love many of your Pinots, but you give me a good steak and a good Cabernet, I'm in heaven. So I can't wait to try the Addendum at some point here coming up soon.
Yeah.
You'll enjoy it for sure. It's good stuff.
Sure. Now, we really have loved being a member of the wine club, but can you give us some, our listeners some perspective, tell a little bit about your wine club, how people can access that, and what some of the benefits are?
Sure. We have a club now that I think the club's probably going on maybe 20 years, maybe a little bit longer. Started off fairly modestly with, a few dozen subscribers, and it's grown nicely over the years. Originally, there was just one club and one offering. I think it was a quarterly shipment of 2 wines. we've really now kind of broadened that out a bit to, try and appeal to people's tastes. If you're kind of more red focused, we can accommodate that. If you're more white focused, we can accommodate that. So we have different tiers. It entitles you to a discount on the wines and complimentary tastings when you join as a club member, discounts on merchandise in the tasting room, and frankly, some nice discounts on our little inn in Los Olivos that can, save you a few bucks if you come up to stay for the weekend. And there's some exciting things happening on the horizon. I can't probably divulge them right now,
Sure.
but we're really, 2020 is a year where we're really trying to sort of hone our sort of guest experience. And there's some exciting new programs that we're working on, and really trying to get more integrated with all of these different labels, and it's sort of so that as a guest, when you come to visit us, you really are aware of sort of all of the opportunities that you can enjoy, and it's sort of a mix and match thing. So
Right.
that's the goal.
Excellent. Well, I know that when we've gone out there, and this we were talking about a little bit at the beginning too, is the feeling of home and family and welcoming is just so obvious once you get there. And, that really speaks a lot to you and your family for doing that. But I mean, when we arrive, when the times we've gone there, we have just felt like, hey, we're so appreciative you're here. We want you to enjoy this. We really have passion for our wines, and that comes through. And it really is an amazing experience that I just can't tout enough for people to really take the time to visit, because it is just such a warm welcome experience.
You know what? It warms my heart to hear you say that, because frankly, more than anything else, that's kind of what we're aiming to deliver. And my parents loved to entertain. They were in the entertainment business for a number of years.
Sure.
And they just, for them, it was, whether you're at the winery or you're at the inn, it was about, getting to know the people that would, come
Right.
and visit, and just, it was kind of like sitting in their living room to a certain extent. They wanted you to feel welcome and like the place was yours. And so hopefully we're kind of carrying on in that tradition.
Yeah, definitely. I think that is a very accurate description.
Not just the living room, but you have that wonderful outdoor patio and outdoor wine bar as well.
Yep.
So it's like you're out on their patio enjoying a nice summer day out in the Santa Barbara or Santa Ynez Hills as well. So it's all just a really, really wonderful time for sure.
Absolutely.
So so many times you have events going on out there. I know that we're looking forward. We just purchased our tickets. We will be out at the Release Day Barbecue coming up in April of 2020, and we're excited because it's been a couple years since we've been out there. So we're looking forward to that. Do you have any other events that are coming up here in the near future, maybe that you would like to share with some of our listeners?
Gosh, from pickup parties to, occasional dinners that we'll host. Best thing to do, because frankly, I can't pull them right up off the top of my brain, but if you go to the Fess Parker Winery website and visit our events page, it'll outline, all the fun things that we have planned for 2020, and, how to find out. Some of the events do sell out pretty quickly. So if it's something that you're interested in, definitely check out the website and get your name on the list quick.
Right. And you were just out, your winery was just featured at the Epcot Food and Wine Festival this year as well.
Absolutely. My niece and nephew were back there pouring wines and talking about the wines.
Nice.
He's Spencer. He's hard to miss. I think he's about 6'8" or so, and probably 230 pounds. And it's weird looking up to my nephew in the way that, I think it's 6'4". I'm fairly good sized guy. He makes me feel like tiny.
That's funny. And you guys now just started, I know with the last release, the Wine Club release, they started going through, I think it was your sister Ashley, her husband Tim, and Blair, the winemaker, the head winemaker, doing Facebook tastings of the wine, kind of explaining what was coming out in the club release. And I thought that was really fascinating. I know you have one coming up here on November 7th for the next Wine Club release as well.
Yeah, you know what? That just kind of goes to, we're trying to sort of provide a little more in-depth explanation of, what you're going to actually receive, and, a little educational component to it. And it's kind of fun. I mean, I think makes you feel like you're a little bit of a movie star for a second.
Right.
Exactly. Well, we really appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Eli Parker, for joining us here on the Hyperion Adventures podcast. We love your winery. We love Fess Parker Winery and Vineyard so very much, and we're glad that we had this chance to share it with our listeners.
Well, I thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to seeing you both the next time you're in Los Olivos.
Yeah, we're getting ready to sing some songs, our particular song.
How many verses of the Ballad of Davy Crockett are there? 21, 22, something like that.
And the sad thing is, at 58 years old and as the son, I still haven't even learned the first verse fully, so that's terrible.
Well, you can get on stage with us like we did last time. So
yeah, come out and join us. Sing along.
I just lip sync.
Perfect. Thank you, Eli. We really appreciate your time, and we hope we can get to talk with you again sometime in the near future.
Anytime. Thanks to the both of you.
So thanks again to Eli Parker, such a wonderful guest, the co-owner and proprietor of Fess Parker Winery and Vineyard, and of course, the son of the great Disney legend, Fess Parker. Really kind man, and to be so generous with his time was really appreciated. Right, Michelle?
It's such an honor. It was an honor to meet him. Well, I guess we've met him a couple times now, but to have him actually join us, it's been great.
Yeah, hopefully we can keep this relationship going and have him on again. I know we'll be up there seeing him, like we discussed in the interview, up at the release day barbecue, and just great. And we can't recommend enough that if you get to the Santa Barbara area and plan on doing a little wine tasting, or even if you just want a little piece of Disney history and just want to stop by, head over to the Fess Parker Winery and Vineyard, and it's even fairly family friendly. Like, I know it's wine tasting and everything, but they have, like we discussed, this great outdoor area with an outdoor wine bar. There's a little grass area where the kids can run around and stuff.
Right.
And it's really not a bad place, for wineries considering to bring the entire family.
Exactly.
So that's it for our main topic of the week. Let's get to our Disney stories of the week. Always so many Disney stories. We like to get to a few of our favorites every single week. And this week, we're going to start with the fact that Disney announced the dates for 2 guest favorite events coming to the Disneyland Resort. Ooh. Yes, this from the Disney Parks blog. 2 highly anticipated events are once again returning to the Disneyland Resort in early 2020. Lunar New Year and Disney California Adventure Food and Wine Festival. How fitting for this week.
That's
the
right.
Food and Wine Festival is coming back because, oftentimes Fess Parker Winery is focused and showcased at the Food and Wine Festival at Disney California Adventure Park.
That's right.
So it's a great chance, if you never tried it, to go sample it for yourself. Going back to the Disney Parks blog, welcome another year of good fortune with the 24 days of Lunar New Year celebrations at Disney California Adventure Park from January 17th to February 9th. This year, they're celebrating,
the year of the, I'm going to say horse.
Close. Mouse.
Oh.
Just a slightly different size. A year of the mouse with multicultural performances, fun-filled activities, beautiful decor, delicious cuisine, and specialty merchandise. Of course, Lunar New Year is a joyous celebration for all ages to commemorate traditions of Chinese, Korean, and Vietnamese cultures, along with favorite Disney characters. That'll be nice. One of the highlights is Mulan's Lunar New Year Procession, a bright and bold performance hosted by Mulan and her faithful dragon, Mushu.
It's really beautiful how they really have the theming during that time of the year at Disney California Adventure. I love it. And how on It's a Small World, they also have that little area decorated for the new year. So I love that time of year. It's really pretty, especially coming back from, Christmas decorations are down, and then you have this bold, beautiful decor.
Yeah, I've loved that they've added these new events kind of in the, the wake of the holiday season. You get through the Halloween, which we just wrapped up, and now we're into the Christmas, the festival of the holiday season, and they still have some stuff going on moving into the new year of 2020. So speaking of that, along with the Lunar New Year, you can taste your way through California-inspired bites, wine, and beer at Disney California Adventure Food and Wine Festival from February 28th to April 21st. And you will also have the opportunity to enjoy live entertainment, culinary seminars, and demonstrations with a distinctly Disney twist, perfectly crafted for foodies. Now, you know about the Food and Wine Festival that's going out on Epcot right as we speak right now. Well, the Disney California Adventure Food and Wine Festival, while not quite to that level, is still an excellent chance to sample lots of different bites, to try out there. They have seminars for beer tasting, wine tasting, and these different culinary demonstrations throughout those several weeks, starting in February and moving on through April.
Yeah, they really have a lot of great things, and each year they really improve on it. Last year, I loved how they did where you could pre-purchase from other booths at one booth. So you could, as you're buying your food at one, food and wine maybe, at one of the booths, you could actually pay for food at other booths and just take your receipt and pick up the food already. So it saved you from being in multiple lines if you wanted to try different tastings. Because again, like you said, it's not as large as Epcot because the space is not as large. So the booths are a bit closer, but it's still great not to have to stand in multiple lines.
Yeah, especially and if there's like a certain item that you like that usually has a long line.
Right.
Again, we're giving away a little tip here, but you can go to one of the lines or one of the booths that has kind of a smaller line and still purchase that item and just walk right up to the booth and get that item that you want and not have to wait in the longer line.
Right.
So just a little giveaway of a tip here early on. Foodies will also appreciate the Sip and Savor Pass, which I'll be talking about a little bit later in my tip of the week, which will be available for all guests looking to try a variety of dishes. In addition, a new line of events merchandise will be offered, from festival-themed headwear and apparel to kitchen gadgets and decor. Kids can even join in on the fun with the hands-on cooking experiences with Chef Goofy. So,
how fun.
Yeah, that's exciting. And
it is.
We look forward to the Disney California Adventure Food and Wine Festival every year, and this will be exciting. And I'm sure Fess Parker Winery will be on display out there. Gogi Wines, that's where we met Kurt Russell. That is possibly going to be having a tasting seminar as well this year. We haven't got the schedule yet, but they've done it in the past.
Right.
There's also their wine club, wine tasting dinners, all sorts of fun stuff. Definitely look at the schedule and take advantage of that time out at Disney California Adventure Park.
Right. And they also usually have a representative for tasting of Silverado wineries, which is one that we plan to do in the future.
Not next week.
Not next week.
I promise you, we're not going to do this for several more weeks again. But yes, we will be going to that one as well. And a few other of the Disney family of wines as well. So moving on to the next Disney story of the week, we'll go to the Walt Disney World Resort, where they also have a guest favorite event returning in 2020.
Do tell.
Yes, this from the Disney Parks blog again. Guests love Disney Villains After Hours so much that next year it is coming back to Magic Kingdom Park with more nights and more wicked fun for all. Ooh. Yeah, we may have to look into this we may probably be going out there in June.
Right.
We may have to look into possibly booking a Disney Villains After Hours night. So in 2020, the event will take place on 24 select nights, February 7th through July 10th. That's 14 additional nights to what they did last year. So that's exciting.
Wow.
Disney Villains After Hours is bringing back the villain-themed elements you guests have loved. Villains on Unite the Night stage show with Hades and Meg from Hercules. Meg's not a villain. We'll set the castle stage ablaze. Maybe sort of to begin with.
Yeah, she was on the edge there.
She's a little gray. Yeah, I get it. You can also spot Maleficent the dragon, of course. Maleficent, the steampunk style dragon that's in the Festival of Fantasy Parade.
Right.
That will be making an appearance. You can dance the night away at the Cinderella Castle forecourt stage. Yes. Take two.
You're just too excited from talking to Eli.
Maybe I shouldn't have been sipping that wine.
That's true.
Where a party DJ will be spinning some sick beats. Oh boy. I sound so corny when I say sick beats. Transforming the entire central plaza of the park into a killer club scene. This is from Disney Parks blog, just so you know why this is being read in this way. They discover surprising villain-inspired additions to Pirates of the Caribbean and Space Mountain. Wow, that'll be theming of Space Mountain. That's interesting. Eat and drink wickedly good food and beverages. Attendees can purchase exclusive merchandise. And you'll enjoy, of course, low wait times at more than 25 attractions and experiences after the park closes for the day for regular guests. So
sounds fun.
Yeah. So if you're looking for tickets for Villains After Hours, you can purchase them now. They are on sale now. In advance, they are $145 plus tax. If you're going to purchase them on the night of, if they're not sold out, which they often are, that'll be $155 plus tax. However, if you're an annual pass holder or a Disney Vacation Club member, you get a $30 discount. Of course, like I said, tickets are limited. Tickets are available. So if you're planning on doing this, you'll probably want to go ahead and book them soon.
Cool.
Yes. So that's
Nice.
Exciting stuff. We, again, may have to look into that.
Villains
are fun.
Villains are fun.
Yeah. So, moving on, the Run Disney 2021 schedule has been released, and I have to say we were slightly disappointed in the fact we thought sure that this year when this was going to be released that we would be getting the races back at the Disneyland Resort. Unfortunately, they came out this year and still no Disneyland Resort Run Disney races. We'll have to wait, it looks like, for at least another year unless they're going to delay and spring it on us at some later date. But right now, that's not looking like the case. But here are the dates for the 2020-2021 Run Disney schedule. The Disney Wine and Dine Half Marathon Weekend, which, by the way, congratulations to all you runners who just finished this weekend. I hope you guys had a blast. I saw a lot of pictures out there, and you guys look like you had a great time, and congratulations on finishing those races. They will be running in 2020 from November 5th through the 8th. The Walt Disney World Marathon Weekend will be January 6th through the 10th in 2021. Mm-hmm. The Disney Princess Half Marathon Weekend will be February 18th through the 21st of 2021. And the Star Wars Rival Run Weekend will be April 15th through the 18th of 2021. So, check your calendar and start booking your dates accordingly to which weekend you want to take a part in.
Right. I also noticed that they had posted the international races that are going on too. So those look a lot of fun as well.
Yes. They also announced, it was sort of unofficially announced out here, but if you had looked around, you saw that this was coming up. But they officially announced it on the Run Disney website, the Disneyland Paris Princess Run, which will be the first ever for that one. That will be May 8th through the 10th of 2020. So this year, and if you're looking to go to that one, packages are on sale right now for that. So if you're looking to go internationally and take a part in that run, you probably want to jump on that. The other Disneyland Paris Run Weekend, which is the one that usually takes place in kind of the fall. And as a matter of fact, this will be the 5th anniversary of that run. Yeah. Can you believe it's already been 5 years, or will it be 5 years in 2020? That'll be taking place from September 24th through the 27th. And for the Run Disney Virtual Series, the Virtual 5K Series will take place from June through August of 2020. And the Star Wars Virtual Half Marathon, which is about to start for the 2020 season coming up here in January. Well, the 2021 season will also be going through January through March as well. So,
nice.
Yes.
A lot of choices there.
A lot of choices to get out and get active and take part in the Run Disney events, whether it's virtually or whether it's out at the sites. And I can't recommend it enough. Even if you're just a walker and want to try a 5K, it's such a blast. It's such an electric community, and it's something that, you should really try. And you can walk through like the 5K or even the 10K for most of it, maybe jog a little bit here and there, walk briskly for the rest of it, and really enjoy it. And it is a good time. And what better way to get out and be active than through Disney parks?
Yeah, you get to see the parks decorated. They have special characters there for pictures if you're running fast enough, and you can stop once in a while to do that. But it's just, like you said, it's electric. It's fun. You'll have a great time.
Mm-hmm. And we need to start. It's been a while since we've done a Run Disney race. We need to start booking
Other than the virtuals.
ours. Yeah, we've done the virtual ones, but I mean, really getting out there. I want to get out there and do it again. So we were hoping it'd be Disneyland soon, but since it's not going to be, we may have to start looking into another Walt Disney World trip to do. Darn, we have to do another Walt Disney World trip.
Or Paris.
I guess. Or Paris. Actually, we may do the Paris one. That might be it. It's been a while since we've been to Disneyland Paris.
Right.
And as they start making their changes out there, we'd like to see those coming. Moving on, one last story for you. I teased it at the open. A Disney property has become the highest grossing franchise of all time. Michelle, do you have a guess as to what Disney property is the highest grossing franchise of all time?
I don't know. I'm going to guess Star Wars.
It is not Star Wars.
Ooh.
Which would, I think that most people would think, and that's what I would have thought as well.
What is it?
You also might think it's Marvel.
I know, that would have been my second.
Marvel, according to the story from Forbes.com. Disney is celebrating more than 20 years of The Lion King.
Oh my gosh.
By revealing numbers that confirm it as the top earning franchise in box office history.
Wow.
Yeah, this is again from Forbes.com. Disney confirmed that the latest reported cumulative box office of the stage version is $9.1 billion.
Wow.
Yes, $1 billion for the Lion King on stage on Broadway.
Wow.
And that also includes the West End and the touring companies of that. So that is a big chunk of why it's the highest grossing in box office history.
Oh my gosh.
You add the movies and the figure reaches some $11.6 billion, the most ever for a stage and screen title.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
11.6 billion for the Lion King, including the two movies, the newest live quote and unquote live action and the original animated classic. That's incredible. And who would have thought that? I was shocked when I saw this story that Lion King has made so much money, but it makes sense when you think of how popular. I mean, it's become the most popular Broadway show. It's made more money than Phantom of the Opera, passed that a couple years ago to be the highest grossing Broadway show. And then you throw in, the live action Lion King, whether you liked it, whether you didn't like it, it made a lot of money.
Right.
And of course, the original Lion King has made a lot of money throughout the years. So that's really impressive.
Right. I mean, if you think of not just, the ticket sales, but people buying the Blu-rays and things like that. So
yeah, I'm not sure if that was included in the. There was part of the story that I was. If you go look up the story, maybe you can read it and interpret it for me, because I had a little trouble figuring out if the merchandising and DVDs and stuff were put into this. But the only thing I could tell from this was it was just the box office, because I wondered if like Star Wars merchandising were thrown into this or whatever, if suddenly that would change things greatly. But so far that I don't think that was the case. I think this was just box office from stage and screen.
Cool.
So anyway, the 22nd anniversary of The Lion King will take place on November 13th. And since its premiere in 1997, this is the Broadway version, 25 global productions have been seen by more than 100 million people.
Wow.
Yeah. So cool.
That is cool.
Lion King has made such a big impact. And a lot of people weren't sure that The Lion King was going to work on stage when they first, brought it out and decided to do this. But, the master puppetry they did and the great costumes and
set designs.
Makeup. It's just really incredible. And obviously it's become a fan favorite for sure. So, and again, the highest grossing franchise of all time, which is incredible.
That is.
Cool. So that's it for the Disney stories of the week. However, we never leave you without some sort of tip that might help you on your next vacation, whether it be to the parks, the resorts, Run Disney. We talked a little bit about that last week. Disney Cruise Line, whatever the case may be. And we always start with Michelle, one, because she's just wonderful, fantastic, has so much knowledge and has just the cutest little face that you're ever going to, come up and give a hug to. But she also has always the very best tips. So let's get right to it. Here is Michelle's tip of the week.
Oh, you're just so kind, sweetie. Thank you. So, in the past, I've talked about, doing things and prepping to make sure you have the best experience at a Disney park. Like last week we talked about, if you're traveling with people who have, in your family or friends who have disabilities, how to prepare for that by getting the guidebooks and things. So mine's going to be talking about how to prep to be able to have a smooth and non-frustrating morning when going to a Disney park. And that's really in the preparation the night before. So, making sure you have your bag packed with everything you need, whether you're talking about like sunscreen, autograph books, pens, Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom cards, lanyards, etc. Having that set up and prepped the night before, ready to go. If you're going from one day to the next, empty out what you don't need from that current day so that you don't have to try to mess with that in the morning. And lastly, have everyone make sure they know what clothes they're going to wear and ready to go so that in the morning people can just start going. I mean, this is really especially helpful if you're going to have an attempt to go to rope drop, or you have an early morning reservation for breakfast or fast passes. But it just, that little bit of preparation the night before can really make your morning go a lot smoother, especially if you're traveling with a lot of people, and making sure everybody is set to go the night before can really, one, get you out on time the way you want to, but also reduce that frustration where you're last minute trying to go through suitcases or drawers and try to find what you're looking for. Having it ready is going to really help you in the morning.
Yeah, it's never easy to get out and get to the parks, especially when they're opening up super early to get out there for rope drop or extra magic hours or whatever the case may be. But yeah, just taking some little steps the night before, making sure everybody is in the loop on what the plan is for the next day, especially if you're coming from multiple, like you said, you have a large group, maybe you're in multiple hotel rooms, making sure that everybody knows, like, look, this is the plan for tomorrow morning. So we're going to meet at this time. We're going to do this. It's never easy, especially as the more people you lasso into this group, there's more things can go awry. But the more you can kind of put things in motion the night before, it really will help you get things going that next morning. So, of course, Michelle always has the best tips, as I always say, and those are really important tips to try and get you going so your Disney day will be the best it possibly can be whenever you're heading out to the park.
Right.
So, very nice. Michelle always has the best tips.
Sweet. Thank you.
My tip, I'm going to give us a little pre-tip for moving on to the Disney California Adventure Food and Wine Festival. And I talked a little bit about the Sip and Savor Pass that they've had for several years now. And it is really a nice benefit. You kind of pre-purchase 10 of these small plates for a set price. And usually it will end up saving you money in the long run. But you have to be sure you're saving money if you're going to purchase those things. I'm going to start off by saying that if you're using one of these, the best idea to make sure you're saving money on it is to go for some of the higher priced items. If you there's nothing wrong with purchasing from some of these booths, some of the lower priced items, but you may want to save that tab for a higher priced item. That way you're getting the benefit of more of a discount on it when you use these tabs.
Right.
Secondly, if you're just going, like, just say if it was Michelle and myself going out to we've discovered this from making this mistake in the past. You probably only need one of those, unless you're going multiple times. If you're going to be going 2, 3, 4 times out to the Food and Wine Festival, then go ahead and buy one of these Sip and Savor Pass for each of you. However, if you're just going out for one day, usually one is enough because there's like 8 or 10 tabs on there. As much as they are small plates, they will fill you up quickly. And if you're trying to use up all these tabs in one day, you're either eating more than you want, or you're spending, you're going for some of the lower priced items and not getting the discount you want. So, but if you're splitting it between 2 people, or if you have a group of 3, 4, 5, whatever, and you get a couple of them and split between you, you're going to be able to stretch this out longer. Now, again, like I said, if you're going to show up multiple times, that's fine. Go ahead and get one for each of you because, you can use 3 the first time, use 4 the second time, whatever the case may be, and eventually use them up. But we've run into this problem where we're, just trying to stuff so much food because we don't want to, end up with a tab left on our card at the end of the
Right.
Sip and Savor Pass, that we've learned that maybe one is enough for just the two of us.
That's a great point. That is true. And like you said, we've made that error before. And, it is a convenience to have the tab because then you can just go, use that instead of currency. But you're absolutely right. To make sure you're either getting a discount or at least breaking even, you want to be conscientious and research what the costs of things are and kind of have a plan for what you want to use your tabs for in advance.
Mm-hmm. And also take note that there's certain places in the park, and we ran into this, that they have a specialty item on the menu. And if you look at it, like let's say it's like 3 tacos, okay, or something like that, and it's like at the Paradise Garden Grill. And you go there, but they do say you can use a tab, but if you use the tab, you get 1 taco. So be aware that it's a difference between the 2 plates. You can purchase it for this price and you get 3 tacos,
right?
Or you use the tab and you get 1 taco. So before you make that order, just know that going in. And I'm not saying that they're going to do that this year, but they have done it in the past. So just kind of giving you a forewarning on that.
Right. Now that is a great distinction and important piece of information. And we only noticed that with the restaurants.
Right.
With the booths, it's the price in the booth. They only have the small plate tasting things. But this was at the restaurant where they were allowing you to purchase a smaller tasting plate of something that they sell as a regular meal.
Mm-hmm. But I will always recommend you get the Sip and Savor Pass because you do get a discount on the more expensive items. Actually, even on the smaller items, to a point, you get a discount. But to actually get the best discount, you get that by purchasing what would end up being the most expensive items on per kiosk that you go to. And I would recommend it. Like I said, just realize how many times you're showing up and how much you're actually going to eat in one day.
Exactly.
So that's it for this week. Next week, like I said in the past, we are actually going to get to that Disney Plus episode. We're going to be going through the things that we are most looking forward to when November 12th hits and Disney Plus will be on our screens and we'll be locked in our house, binge watching everything on it for the next month or so until we finally get to our Walt Disney World trip in December.
Right. And we'd love to hear from you all too as to what you're most looking forward to on Disney Plus premiere November 12th.
Mm-hmm. It's exciting stuff. So we appreciate that you joined us today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the best place to find us is on HyperionAdventurespodcast.com. That's our own website. And while you're there, why don't you just go ahead and sign up for the newsletter so you can find out all our interesting news that we have coming up, because we have a lot of interesting news, don't we?
Tons, honey, tons. But it's also a way to get some of the things that we talk about here. So like last week with the guidebooks, that we can give you links to that right away. And, we've created some tools as well that we can share with you. I think the last one we did was the packing list for a Disney cruise ship. So it's a way that you can also receive some special things from us.
Right. And you'll find out, interesting news for us. And the questions, the trivia questions, we send them to you first. If you're signed up for the newsletter, a lot of stuff that we have going on, you will receive that information first before you find us on social media. And that's the other way to connect with us, is on social media. We are on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. And if you ever want to contact us and suggest a topic, ask a question, just want to say hi and tell us you like the show, that's fine. You can email us at HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
And we don't want to close out the show without at least one more time reminding everybody of this week's code word.
The code word is
Alamo. Alamo.
So thanks again for taking part in all our giveaways and our trivia contests and on social media. Of course, the Hyperion Adventures Disney Hall of Fame nominations we have coming up here. Again, we want to hear from you for this week's nomination for the Disney or Pixar animated film. We want your 5 favorites. We're going to tabulate them all and eventually be on our Hall of Fame ballots come December.
So thank you again for everyone for listening this week.
Yes, thank you for listening to the Hyperion Adventures podcast. We look forward to sharing some time with you again next week. Until that time, I'm Tom.
I'm Michelle.
And we hope that you have a magical week.